Close your eyes for a moment and think about last night. Did you sleep well? Or did you lie awake scrolling through your phone wondering why your brain refused to shut down? Did you wake up feeling refreshed? Or did you drag yourself out of bed feeling like you'd been hit by a truck? Here's the uncomfortable truth. We're living through the worst sleep crisis in human history, and nobody wants to admit it. Right now, as you listen to this, millions of people around the world are lying awake in perfectly comfortable beds, in temperature-controlled rooms, with memory foam pillows and weighted blankets. They have every advantage modern technology can offer, and yet they cannot sleep. Insomnia rates have tripled in the last 50 years. Sleep disorders affect 1 in 3 adults. We're popping melatonin pills like candy, buying $1,000 mattresses, and downloading apps that promise to hack our circadian rhythms. We've turned sleep into $1 billion industry, and we're still exhausted. But here's where it gets really interesting. Go back 60,000 years. Picture a group of humans huddled in a cave somewhere in what we now call France. They have no electricity, no central heating, no memory foam. They're surrounded by predators. They don't know if they'll find food tomorrow. By every measure, their lives are harder than ours, and yet they slept better than we do. How is that possible? Welcome to a journey that's going to change how you think about rest. I'm so glad you're here with me tonight. Before we dive deep into this mystery, I want to ask you for a small favour. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button now. This channel's growing into something special. Community of people who love learning while they drift off to sleep. And I'd love for you to be part of it. Also, drop a comment telling me where you're listening from and what time it is right now. Are you in Tokyo at 2 AM? London at midnight? New York at bedtime? I love seeing how this little campfire of ours connects people across the entire planet. Now, let's talk about what our ancestors knew that we've forgotten. Scientists who study prehistoric humans have discovered something fascinating. When they examine the sleep patterns of modern hunter-gatherer tribes, people who still live similar lifestyles to our ancient ancestors, they find something remarkable. These people fall asleep within minutes of lying down. They rarely wake during the night, and they report feeling fully rested after 7 to 8 hours. No sleep apps required. The secret isn't genetics. It's not that they're a different species. It's their environment. Their entire world was designed by nature to promote perfect sleep. And we've spent the last 10,000 years systematically destroying those conditions. Think about light for a moment. Our ancestors lived in a world where the sun dictated everything. When darkness fell, there were only 2 sources of light, the moon and fire. That's it. No street lamps, no phone screens, no late-night television. And here's the crucial part. Firelight doesn't destroy sleep the way artificial light does. The warm orange glow of flames produces wavelengths that actually support melatonin production. Your brain sees fire and thinks, "Ah yes, time to wind down." But when you stare at your phone before bed, that blue light screams, "Stay awake, it's still broad daytime." Your body doesn't know the difference between your screen and the sun, so it keeps you alert when you desperately need rest. Our ancestors didn't have to fight their biology. Their environment worked with them, not against them, but light was only the beginning. Temperature played a massive role too, and this is where modern life really messes us up. Your body needs to cool down to sleep well. Core temperature must drop by about 2 degrees Fahrenheit for deep sleep to occur. This is biological law. Cavemen experienced this naturally. As night fell, temperatures dropped. They'd huddle near fires for warmth, yes, but the air around them stayed cool. Their bodies hit that perfect temperature sweet spot without effort. What do? We pump hot air through our homes all winter and blast air conditioning all summer, trying to maintain a constant 72 degrees. We fight against the natural temperature fluctuations that promote great sleep. Then we wonder why we toss and turn all night. But here's what really fascinates me. Here's the thing nobody talks about. Cavemen slept better not despite the dangers around them, but in some ways because of them. The threats forced them to create systems that actually improved sleep. They slept in groups, which meant protection. They built fires, which meant warmth and safety. They chose shelters carefully, which meant security. Every danger they faced led to an adaptation that made rest more possible. We've eliminated most physical dangers from our lives. We lock our doors, set alarms, live in the safest era in human history. And yet we lie awake consumed by anxieties that aren't even real. Worries about emails we haven't sent, arguments we might have tomorrow, bills due next month. Our ancestors faced real predators and somehow slept soundly. We face imaginary ones and can't sleep at all. So here's the question I want you to think about as we continue this journey. What if the key to better sleep isn't more technology, but less? What if the secret isn't in buying better equipment, but in returning to simpler patterns? What if everything we're doing to improve our sleep is actually making it woo? That's exactly what we're going to explore. Over the next couple of hours, we're going to walk through prehistoric nights together. We'll discover how environment, community, ritual and rhythm combine to create the best sleep humanity has ever known. And more importantly, we'll uncover practical lessons you can use tonight. Because here's the beautiful truth. You still carry prehistoric sleep patterns in your DNA. Your body still remembers how to do this. We just need to remind it. If you're already feeling your eyelids getting heavy, that's perfect. Let yourself drift. This story will be here when you need it. And if you're wide awake, curious about what comes next, then settle in. We have so much to discover together. Coming up next, we're going to step into the actual sleeping spaces of our ancestors. And I promise you, what they created with nothing but grass, hides, and ingenuity will surprise you. These weren't primitive arrangements. They were sophisticated systems that would put many modern bedrooms to shame. But before we get there, take a moment and hit the like button if you're enjoying this so far. It helps more people discover these videos, and the more people we reach, the bigger our community grows. Alright, let's continue into the prehistoric night. Chapter 2. The Prehistoric Bedroom Revolution. Forget everything you think you know about cavemen. That image in your head, wild-haired humans sprawled on cold rock floors sleeping like animals, is completely wrong. Our ancestors weren't primitive when it came to sleep. They were brilliant. In fact, they engineered bedding systems so clever that archaeologists stood in caves literally scratching their heads trying to figure out how people 60,000 years ago understood principles of sleep hygiene we only rediscovered in the last century. Let me take you to Border Cave in South Africa. It's 200,000 years ago. That's not a typo. 200,000 years. A group of early humans has made this cave home. Every few weeks they collect fresh grasses from the valley below. They layer these grasses carefully on the cave floor, creating a thick mat that cushions their bodies. But here's the genius part. They spread ash underneath the grass. Why ash? Because ash repels insects. It keeps away mosquitoes, ticks, and lice. These ancient humans, who couldn't read or write, who had never heard of disease theory, somehow figured out that ash prevented pests from disturbing their sleep. When scientists discovered these ancient grass beds during excavations, they found layer upon layer, suggesting the occupants regularly refreshed their bedding, keeping it clean and comfortable. This wasn't accidental. This was sophisticated environmental engineering, and it gets better. In Siberia, archaeologists have uncovered sleeping areas from 40,000 years ago, lined with mammoth hides. Not just one or two skins thrown down randomly, multiple layers carefully arranged, creating insulation that could withstand temperatures 30 degrees below zero. Imagine the work involved. Hunting mammoth was dangerous, exhausting, and required entire groups working together. But when they succeeded, they didn't just eat the meat and move on. They carefully processed those hides, scraping them clean, treating them to stay supple, then using them to create what was essentially nature's first weighted blanket. Modern sleep scientists rave about weighted blankets. They reduce anxiety, lower heart rates, and promote deeper sleep by providing gentle pressure. Cavemen were using this technique 40,000 years before we gave it a scientific name. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you put that much thought into where you sleep? Most of us buy a mattress once every 10 years and call it done. Our ancestors renewed their bedding constantly, adapting it to seasons, carefully maintaining materials, always improving. They took sleep seriously because their lives depended on it. Now here's where it gets controversial. I want you to really think about this. Were cavemen actually smarter about sleep than we are? We mock them as primitive. We picture grunting brutes who barely understood their world. But they lived in perfect harmony with natural sleep cycles while we, with all our education and technology, have created an epidemic of sleep disorders. Who's really the primitive one? Drop a comment and tell me what you think. Do you believe ancient humans understood something fundamental that we've lost? Or are we just romanticizing the past? Let me take you to another location. Dolní Věstonice in the Czech Republic, roughly 25,000 years ago, Ice Age Europe. Conditions so harsh that simply surviving was a daily miracle. Archaeologists found something remarkable here. Massive structures built from mammoth bones, with hides stretched over them creating insulated shelters. Inside these structures, they discovered carefully arranged sleeping areas with central hearths positioned to provide maximum warmth while minimizing smoke. Think about the engineering knowledge required. They had to understand heat flow, ventilation, insulation, and communal space design, all without blueprints or building codes. Inside these shelters, families created sleeping zones, children in the warmest center sections, adults forming a protective ring around them, elders near the hearth where they could tend the fire through the night. Every person had a place. Every position served a purpose. This wasn't random. This was architectural planning, driven by one goal: ensure everyone sleeps safely and warmly. Compare that to modern housing, where we isolate family members in separate rooms, cutting off the very connections that promote security and rest. In warmer climates, the approach changed, but the sophistication remained. In what's now Israel, archaeologists found 23,000-year-old reed mats woven with incredible precision. These weren't rough piles of reeds. They were tightly woven surfaces that provided cushioning while allowing airflow, preventing the dampness that would otherwise make sleep miserable in humid environments. Each climate demanded different solutions, and in every environment humans figured it out. They didn't complain about not having perfect conditions. They created perfect conditions from whatever materials the earth provided. Here's another fascinating detail. Caves weren't always cold, damp dungeons. Many offered stable temperatures year-round. Some stayed cool in summer and relatively warm in winter, providing natural climate control that modern HVAC systems try to replicate. At Shanida Cave in Iraq, Neanderthals didn't just sleep there occasionally. Evidence suggests long-term occupation with carefully maintained living spaces. They buried their dead with flowers. They created distinct areas for different activities. And the sleeping zones show signs of bedding materials and deliberate arrangement. These weren't mindless creatures crashing wherever darkness found them. They were people who valued rest and invested effort in making it as comfortable and safe as possible. Now, I want to share something that's going to sound strange, but hear me out. What if having too many options actually makes our sleep worse? Our ancestors had limited materials: grass, hides, bones, beads. They had to be creative within constraints. Today we can choose from memory foam, latex, inner spring, hybrid mattresses, each with countless firmness levels. We have synthetic fills, down alternatives, cooling gels, and smart fabrics. We're more anxious about sleep than ever. Maybe limitation breeds expertise. Maybe when you can't just buy a new solution, you develop deeper understanding of what actually works. Maybe our ancestors became master sleepers precisely because they couldn't afford to fail. That's worth thinking about. If you're enjoying this journey so far, do me a favor and share this video with someone you think would love it. Maybe a friend who's always complaining about sleep. Maybe a family member interested in history. This kind of content thrives when people like you help spread it around. Alright, coming up next, we're diving into one of the most important factors in prehistoric sleep: darkness. Not just absence of light, but true, deep darkness that modern humans rarely experience. And trust me, what darkness did for their sleep is going to make you want to throw your phone across the room. In a good way. Stay with me, we're just getting started. Chapter 3. Why darkness was their superpower. Let me ask you a question you've probably never considered. When was the last time you experienced true darkness? Not dim light, not a dark room with a glowing alarm clock and light seeping under the door. I mean absolute, complete darkness. The kind where you can't see your hand in front of your face. The kind where your eyes stay wide open but register nothing except black. For most people alive today, the answer is never. We've literally engineered darkness out of existence, and in doing so, we've destroyed one of the most powerful sleep tools humanity ever had. Our ancestors lived in that darkness every single night, and it gave them an extraordinary advantage. Here's what happens in your brain when you experience true darkness. Your pineal gland, a tiny pine cone-shaped organ deep in your brain, starts producing melatonin. This hormone doesn't just make you sleepy, it orchestrates your entire body's transition into rest mode. Heart rate slows, blood pressure drops, body temperature decreases, muscles relax, your whole system shifts into recovery mode. But here's the catch. This only works properly in darkness. Real darkness. Even small amounts of light can disrupt the process. A nightlight, a charging phone, street lamps outside your window. Your brain sees these sources and hesitates. Wait, is it still daytime? Should we stay alert? Melatonin production stutters, your sleep becomes fragmented, and you wake up exhausted, wondering why 8 hours in bed didn't restore you. Cavemen never had this problem. When the sun set, darkness arrived completely. No ambient light pollution, no electronics, nothing but the moon, which actually supports sleep, and fire, which produces wavelengths that don't disrupt melatonin the way artificial light does. Let me paint you a picture. It's 40,000 years ago in what will eventually be called France. Your tribe has spent the day hunting and gathering. As dusk approaches, everyone returns to the cave entrance where you make camp. Someone builds up the fire. Children gather close. Adults arrange bedding. And as true night falls, the world beyond your fire becomes completely, utterly black. That darkness isn't frightening, it's comforting. It signals safety. We're in the cave. The fire's burning, everyone's here. We're protected. Your brain, responding to that enveloping darkness, floods your system with melatonin. Within an hour after sunset, you're drowsy. Within 2 hours, sleep comes naturally, easily, inevitably. No tossing and turning, no checking your phone, no racing thoughts, just a gentle slide from wakefulness into rest. This was their normal every single night. Now compare that to your experience. You're inside a building with lights on. You're looking at screens, phone, computer, TV, bathing your face in blue light. When you finally decide to sleep, you turn off the lights, but illumination still creeps in from outside. Your alarm clock glows, your phone charges nearby, screen occasionally lighting up with notifications. Your pineal gland is confused. Your melatonin production is a mess. Your circadian rhythm doesn't know if it's midnight or noon, and we wonder why we can't sleep. Here's something that's going to blow your mind. Researchers studying modern hunter-gatherer tribes found something remarkable. These people, living without electricity, naturally fall asleep about 2 to 3 hours after sunset. They wake naturally at dawn, and they report sleep quality that would make insomniacs weep with envy. When scientists measured their melatonin levels, they found patterns that were dramatically different from people living in cities. The hunter-gatherers' melatonin surged strongly at night and dropped cleanly in morning. City dwellers' melatonin patterns were erratic, suppressed, confused. Same species, same biology, completely different results. The only variable? Exposure. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but I need light at night for safety. I need to see my phone in case of emergencies. I can't just sit in darkness. And you're right. We can't perfectly replicate prehistoric conditions, but here's the thing, we don't have to. We just need to understand the principle and adapt it. Our ancestors proved that humans can sleep deeply even when surrounded by dangers, as long as certain conditions are met. Darkness was one of those conditions, not because darkness itself is magical, but because it triggers biological processes that have been built into our DNA for hundreds of thousands of years. Let me ask you something controversial. Do you think we're actually safer with all our lights? Or do they just make us feel safer while actually disrupting the rest that would truly protect us? Think about it. Cavemen slept in genuine danger, predators, hostile tribes, harsh weather. But they had darkness, community, and fire. They woke refreshed, alert, ready to handle threats. We sleep in objectively safe homes with locks and alarms, but we bathe ourselves in light all evening, then toss restlessly all night. We wake up exhausted, mentally foggy, barely able to function. Who's really safer? If this is making you think differently about your bedtime routine, show me by hitting that like button. And if you're starting to feel sleepy, good. That means your body is finally getting the message that it's time to rest. Let me tell you about one more aspect of prehistoric darkness that we've completely lost: the stars. When you slept outside under open sky, you didn't just have darkness. You had the cosmos, the Milky Way stretching overhead like a river of light. Constellations so bright they looked close enough to touch. Meteors streaking past regularly. This wasn't just beautiful, it was psychologically profound. You fell asleep knowing your place in something vast and eternal. Your worries, finding food tomorrow, avoiding predators, were real but manageable. Because every night, the stars reminded you that the universe was so much bigger than any single problem. Today we've lost that. We lie in bed worrying about emails, about what someone said on social media, about minor problems we inflate into catastrophes. We've lost perspective, and without perspective, anxiety fills the void. Darkness gave our ancestors both biological sleep triggers and psychological peace. It was a nightly reset button for body and mind, and we've replaced it with artificial light and endless digital stimulation. Coming up next, we're going to explore perhaps the most important factor in prehistoric sleep: community. Because it turns out that sleeping alone, something we think of as normal, is actually a very strange modern invention. And it might be one of the biggest mistakes we've ever made. But before we go there, drop a comment and tell me, after hearing all this, are you going to try sleeping in a darker room tonight? Are you going to put your phone somewhere else? I'd love to know. Let's keep going. We're building towards something important. Chapter 4: The Tribe That Never Slept Alone. Here's a fact that's going to sound shocking. For 99% of human history, sleeping alone was basically unheard of. Not uncommon, not rare, virtually non-existent. Humans slept in groups, always, parents with children, siblings together, extended families clustered close, multiple generations sharing the same sleeping space. Physical contact through the night was the norm, not the exception. And this wasn't just about warmth or safety, though those mattered. It was about something deeper, something we've lost and desperately need to rediscover. Let me take you back. It's 30,000 years ago. You're part of a tribe of about 30 people. As evening approaches, everyone begins the nightly routine. Fires built up, bedding arranged, and then, naturally, without anyone giving orders, people settle into their sleeping positions. Children nestle between parents, younger adults form an outer ring. Elders position themselves near the fire where they can tend it through the night. Everyone touching someone, arms draped across each other, backs pressed together. A living circle of warmth and protection. When you close your eyes, you hear the breathing of your family. You feel the rise and fall of your child's chest against your side. You sense the presence of your companions surrounding you on all sides. Your nervous system reads this situation and sends a clear message. We're safe. The tribe is here. Nothing can harm us without waking everyone. We can truly rest. And you do, deeply, completely. Compare that to modern sleep. You walk into a bedroom alone, you close the door, cutting yourself off from family. You climb into bed, alone. The room is silent except for maybe a white noise machine artificially generating sound, and your nervous system is confused. Why are we isolated? Where is everyone? Are we safe? Should we stay alert? Is it any wonder that anxiety and insomnia are epidemic? Here's what modern sleep science has discovered, and it's going to validate everything our ancestors knew intuitively. Physical proximity to trusted others reduces cortisol, lowers heart rate, and improves sleep quality. Studies on co-sleeping, not just with children but with partners, show that when people feel safe with their sleep companion, both individuals experience deeper, more restorative rest. The presence of another trusted human being literally changes your brain chemistry in ways that promote healing and recovery. This is called social buffering, and it's hardwired into human biology. Our ancestors didn't need studies to tell them this, they lived it. Every night, the tribe's presence buffered each individual's stress, creating a collective calm that made deep sleep possible even in dangerous environments. Now, let me share something fascinating that's going to challenge how you think about sleep disruption. You know how parents complain about babies waking them through the night? How we've been taught that interrupted sleep is bad sleep? What if that's wrong? Anthropologists studying traditional societies have found something remarkable. In groups where families sleep together, babies do wake frequently, but so do adults, naturally, in cycles. Some people sleep deeply while others are in lighter phases. This creates a staggered watch system without anyone consciously planning it. A baby cries. The mother wakes, but she was already in light sleep anyway. She nurses or soothes the child. Both drift back to sleep quickly. The father, in his deep sleep phase, barely stirs. An elder, naturally awake because age has changed his sleep pattern, adds wood to the fire. Everyone's sleep phases overlap, creating protection while still allowing each person to get adequate rest. This wasn't dysfunction. This was a feature, not a bug. We've labelled it as a problem because we think sleep must be uninterrupted to be good, but that's a modern invention. For most of human history, sleep was communal, protective, and beautifully staggered. The tribe never fully slept, and paradoxically, that made everyone sleep better. Here's where I want you to really think critically. Our society tells us that independence is good, that having your own room, your own space, your own bed is a sign of success. Children sleeping separately from parents is considered healthy development. But what if we've gotten this completely backward? What if isolation, the thing we're taught to value, is actually destroying our rest? I'm not saying everyone needs to pile into one room, but I am suggesting that maybe we've gone too far in the opposite direction. Maybe the person who can't sleep alone in a big house is actually responding normally to an abnormal situation. Maybe their body is trying to tell them something important. Share this video with someone you know who struggles with sleep. Maybe this perspective will help them understand what's missing. Let me tell you about another aspect of communal sleep that's been completely lost. Touch. Skin-to-skin contact releases oxytocin, sometimes called the bonding hormone. It reduces pain, lowers blood pressure, and creates feelings of safety and connection. Physical affection is so powerful that premature babies who receive regular skin contact grow faster and stronger than those who don't. Every night our ancestors experienced this, not as therapy but as life. Children grew up sleeping pressed against parents, absorbing not just warmth but a deep cellular message. You belong, you're safe, you're loved. That foundation of security carried into adulthood, creating emotionally resilient people. Today we're touch-starved. We spend days without meaningful physical contact. Then we wonder why anxiety, depression, and insomnia are skyrocketing. We've engineered connection out of our nights, and we're paying a terrible price. But here's what gives me hope. This isn't permanent. These patterns can be restored, at least partially. Couples who sleep close together report better relationship satisfaction and better sleep. Families who maintain some co-sleeping practices, even just starting the night, together with story time before some members move to other beds, report feeling more connected and sleeping more soundly. Even pets help. People who sleep with dogs or cats often report feeling safer and sleeping better. It's not quite the same as human connection, but it touches that same ancient need for presence during vulnerability. Coming up next, we're going to explore how food and physical exhaustion work together to create the perfect conditions for prehistoric sleep. And I'm going to share some things that might make you completely rethink your evening routine. But first, if you're finding value in this, take a second and subscribe. This channel is about more than just sleep stories. It's about understanding our past to live better in our present. And I'd love for you to be part of this community. Let's continue deeper into the prehistoric night. We're getting to the really fascinating parts now. Chapter 5. Food, fire, and the perfect sleep recipe. Imagine ending your day like this. You've walked 15 miles, tracked prey through forest and across plains, hauled water from a distant stream, gathered roots and berries until your back ached, built and tended fires, prepared food for your family. By the time darkness falls, your muscles are screaming, your body is depleted, and when you finally lie down on your grass bedding near the fire's warmth, sleep doesn't creep up gradually. It crashes over you like a wave. This was normal for our ancestors, and it gave them something we've almost completely lost: physical exhaustion that demands rest. Today, most of us sit all day, We drive to work, sit at desks, drive home, sit on couches. Our bodies never experience the deep physical depletion that tells the brain, we must recover, sleep now. Then we lie in bed, physically restless, wondering why sleep won't come. But exhaustion was only part of the equation. Let's talk about food, because what our ancestors ate, and when they ate it, shaped their sleep in profound ways. First, the obvious, they didn't have caffeine, no coffee to push them past natural tiredness, no energy drinks to artificially extend the day. When their bodies said rest, there was no chemical override available. They also didn't have sugar-loaded processed foods causing blood sugar spikes and crashes. No late-night snacking on candy or chips. Their diet consisted of whole foods, meat, fish, nuts, berries, roots, vegetables. These foods provided steady energy without the metabolic chaos that disrupts sleep. Here's something fascinating. After a successful hunt, the tribe would feast. They'd eat large amounts of protein and fat, and then, full and satisfied, they'd sleep deeply. Modern research shows that protein-rich meals consumed several hours before sleep can actually improve sleep quality. The amino acid tryptophan found in meat converts to serotonin and eventually melatonin. Fats slow digestion, preventing blood sugar crashes that might otherwise wake you. Our ancestors didn't know the biochemistry, but they lived it. Big meal, satisfied stomach, deep sleep. The feast and famine cycle they experienced also shaped their sleep patterns in interesting ways. During times of plenty, sleep came easily. Bodies well fed and warm would sink into long restorative rest. During leaner times, sleep became lighter and shorter, but this wasn't insomnia as we know it. It was adaptive. When food was scarce, lighter sleep meant earlier waking, more time to search for resources. The body's wisdom adjusting rest to match survival needs. Compare that to us. We have unlimited food available 24/7, yet we often eat poorly. Too much sugar, too many stimulants, meals at irregular times. We fight our biology with every choice. Then we're shocked when sleep becomes difficult. Now let's talk about fire, because fire was so much more than just light and warmth. Fire was the centerpiece of prehistoric life. It cooked food, provided protection, and created the social space where the tribe gathered. But its role in sleep preparation was perhaps its most important function. As evening approached and the fire was built up, something magical happened. The flickering flames produced light in the orange-red spectrum, wavelengths that don't suppress melatonin the way blue light does. Your brain could see, but it wasn't fooled into thinking it was still daytime. The warmth relaxed muscles. The crackling sound provided gentle white noise, masking sudden sounds that might startle sleepers awake. The smell of wood smoke became associated with safety and rest. Sitting around the fire became a nightly meditation, a time to process the day, share stories, connect with family. No distractions, no screens, just faces in firelight and voices blending with the night sounds. This was the original bedtime routine, and it was perfect. Your nervous system gradually downshifted from the activity of day to the stillness of night. By the time you lay down, your body was completely ready for sleep. The transition wasn't jarring, it was gentle, natural, inevitable. What do we do instead? We're active right up until the moment we decide to sleep. Bright lights blazing, screens stimulating our brains. We respond to emails at 10 p.m, watch intense shows at 11 p.m. Then we flip off the light and expect instant sleep. It's like driving a car at 70 miles per hour and slamming on the brakes, wondering why the stop isn't smooth. Here's something most people don't know. There's evidence that our ancestors practiced what's called segmented sleep. They'd sleep for a few hours, wake naturally in the middle of the night, stay awake for an hour or two, then sleep again until morning. During that wakeful period, they tend the fire, talk quietly, maybe share intimacy with partners. Some anthropologists think this is when many myths and stories were created, in that dreamy liminal space between first and second sleep. When modern people wake at 2 a.m, they panic. They think something's wrong. They toss and turn, anxious about lost sleep. But what if nothing's wrong? What if our bodies are trying to follow an ancient pattern, and we're fighting it with worry? Some sleep researchers have experimented with this. They removed artificial light from participants' lives for several weeks. And guess what happened? Many naturally fell into segmented sleep patterns. They'd sleep, wake for an hour, then sleep again. And they reported feeling more rested than ever before. Maybe insomnia isn't always a disorder. Maybe sometimes it's an ancient rhythm trying to reassert itself in an environment that no longer supports it. Think about that for a moment. What if your sleep problems aren't problems at all, but your body trying to do something natural in an unnatural world? If that idea resonates with you, hit the like button and let me know. These are the kinds of questions that help us think differently about rest. Now let's talk about alcohol for a second, because it's interesting. Our ancestors did ferment fruits and grains eventually, but they didn't have access to the concentrated alcohol we consume today, and they certainly didn't use it as a sleep aid. Modern people often drink to help them fall asleep, and it works initially. Alcohol is a sedative, but it absolutely destroys sleep quality. It fragments your sleep cycles, suppresses REM sleep, and causes early morning waking. Cavemen occasionally drank fermented beverages in social ceremonial contexts, but they didn't need alcohol to sleep because their entire lifestyle promoted natural rest. We've replaced natural sleep with artificial sedation, and we can't understand why we still wake up exhausted. Coming up next, we're diving into something that might surprise you: how sickness, injury, and healing were intricately woven into prehistoric sleep. Because rest wasn't just about daily recovery, it was the primary medicine our ancestors had. And what they knew about healing through sleep would shock most modern doctors. Before we go there, do me a favor and share this video with someone who's interested in health and wellness. This information could genuinely change how they think about recovery. Alright, let's continue. The story gets even more interesting from here. Chapter 6. When Sleep Was Medicine. Picture this: a hunter returns to camp limping badly. During the chase, he twisted his ankle and now it's swollen, throbbing with pain. In our world, he'd go to an emergency room, get x-rays, maybe a prescription for pain medication and anti-inflammatories. But this is 40,000 years ago. There are no doctors, no hospitals, no pharmacies. What does the tribe do? They help him to the warmest spot near the fire. Someone brings water. Another person wraps the ankle with leather and padding to immobilize it. The injured hunter is given the softest bedding. And then everyone understands one crucial thing. His most important medicine is rest. For the next several days he sleeps more than usual. 10, 12, sometimes 14 hours. His body, given time and stillness, begins the work of healing. Inflammation decreases, damaged tissue repairs, and within a week or two he's walking again. Sleep was their medicine. Often it was their only medicine. And here's what's remarkable: it worked. Modern science has now confirmed what our ancestors understood instinctively. During deep sleep, your body releases growth hormone. This hormone doesn't just help children grow, it repairs tissue, builds muscle, and heals injuries throughout your life. Your immune system kicks into high gear during sleep, producing cytokines that fight infection and inflammation. Blood flow to muscles increases, bringing nutrients and removing waste products. Even broken bones heal faster when you're sleeping well. Sleep isn't just rest. It's when your body does its most important repair work. Our ancestors couldn't explain the biology, but they saw the results. The injured person who rested healed faster than the one who tried to push through. The sick child who slept deeply usually recovered. The elder who maintained good rest lived longer. So when someone was hurt or ill, the entire tribe adjusted. They provided for the person, protected them, and most importantly, allowed them to sleep as much as their body demanded. Compare that to modern life. When we get sick, we take pills to suppress symptoms so we can keep working. We pride ourselves on pushing through. We treat rest as weakness rather than wisdom. And then we wonder why recovery takes forever and minor illnesses linger for weeks. Here's a question worth considering. Were our ancestors actually better healers than us, precisely because they had fewer options? When sleep is your primary medicine, you take it seriously. When rest is your most powerful tool, you prioritize it. We have so many shortcuts available that we've forgotten the fundamental truth. Nothing heals like sleep. Let me tell you about another fascinating aspect of prehistoric healthcare. Communal support during illness. When someone was sick, they weren't isolated. They remained part of the sleeping circle. Others adjusted positions to keep them warm, checked on them through the night, brought water or food when needed. This constant care provided more than practical help. It provided psychological comfort. The sick person knew they weren't alone. They felt the presence of family, heard familiar voices, sensed protective warmth surrounding them. And that comfort, that feeling of safety and belonging actually improved healing outcomes. Modern medicine is finally catching up to this. Studies show that hospital patients recover faster when they have frequent visitors, when they feel emotionally supported, when they're not isolated. Loneliness, it turns out, is literally bad for your health. It suppresses immune function and slows healing. Connection and community boost immune response and accelerate recovery. Cavemen understood this without running a single clinical trial. Now let's talk about something controversial: pain and sleep. In our world, pain is the enemy. We fight it with powerful medications. We do everything possible to eliminate discomfort, and when pain disrupts sleep, we see that as a problem to solve with more drugs. But consider the prehistoric perspective. Pain that kept you awake was information. It told you the injury was serious. It forced you to stay still, to rest, to give your body time to heal. Yes, it was unpleasant, but it served a purpose. Our ancestors likely used some natural pain relievers, willow bark, which contains the same compounds as aspirin, certain herbs, maybe alcohol in some cases, but they didn't have the ability to completely eliminate pain, so they learned to coexist with it. And in learning to coexist with pain, they developed something we've lost: resilience. They understood that discomfort was temporary, that healing required patience, that rest, even painful rest, was better than pushing the body beyond its limits. I'm not suggesting we should suffer unnecessarily. Modern pain management is a genuine blessing for many conditions, but I am suggesting that maybe we've gone too far in the other direction. Maybe some discomfort is actually useful information our bodies are trying to share. When prehistoric people couldn't sleep because of pain, they didn't panic. They adjusted. They changed positions. They had others help them find comfort. They accepted lighter, more broken sleep as part of healing, and they trusted that as the injury healed, sleep would improve. No anxiety about the sleep loss itself, just acceptance and patience. Coming up next, we're going to explore dreams. Because prehistoric people didn't treat dreams the way we do, as random brain noise. They saw them as messages, guidance, sometimes even as journeys to other realms, and how they use dreams might be the most fascinating aspect of their sleep practices. But before we go there, if this video is helping you understand sleep differently, show some love by hitting the subscribe button. We're building something special here, a community that values deep knowledge and slow, thoughtful exploration of important topics. Let's continue into the world of prehistoric set. Dreams, Chapter 7, Dreams that Changed History. Close your eyes and imagine this moment. You're sleeping in a cave 40,000 years ago. The fire has died down to embers. The breathing of your tribe surrounds you. And then a dream begins. You see animals you've been tracking for days. In the dream, they lead you to a valley you've never noticed before. The vision is vivid, more real than any waking thought. When you wake in the darkness, your heart is pounding. You know with absolute certainty where tomorrow's hunt must go. In the morning, you describe your dream to the elders. They listen carefully. Dreams, everyone knows, carry meaning. Perhaps the spirits are showing you where to find food. Perhaps your mind has noticed something your waking consciousness missed. The hunting party follows your vision, and there, in that valley, you find the herd. Was it luck, coincidence, or did your dreaming brain process environmental clues and present them as guidance? It doesn't matter. What matters is that your tribe survives another week because someone paid attention to a dream. This was reality for our ancestors. Dreams weren't dismissed as brain static. They were treated as important information, sometimes even as glimpses into sacred realms beyond normal perception. And this attitude toward dreams fundamentally changed how they experience sleep. When you believe dreams carry meaning, you welcome them. You don't fear sleep. You look forward to it as a time when wisdom might arrive. You don't dismiss unusual dreams as just weird. You share them with your community and seek interpretation. Sleep becomes valuable not just for physical rest, but for psychological and spiritual guidance. Modern sleep researchers have discovered something fascinating about dream content. Dreams often process emotional experiences, help consolidate learning, and work through problems that waking consciousness struggles with. In other words, dreams actually are useful. Science is confirming what prehistoric people always believed. But here's where it gets really interesting. When you wake from a vivid dream and immediately dismiss it, when you tell yourself it was just a dream, it doesn't mean anything, you're actually shutting down a valuable process. Our ancestors did the opposite. They honored dreams, discussed them, used them to inform decisions, and in doing so they accessed insights that benefited the entire tribe. Let me share something that's going to challenge how you think about this. What if some of the greatest innovations in human history came from dreams? We know that modern inventors and artists have reported dream-inspired breakthroughs. The structure of the benzene molecule came from a dream. Paul McCartney heard Yesterday in a dream. Many scientific and creative insights have emerged from the dreaming mind. But those stories come from recent history. What about the first person who dreamed of using fire in a new way? The first person who envisioned a better,